Sweetie, behind every successful man, there is a strong woman, sweetie. That's what they say here. They say here.
Thank you for having us here. I think you all know that this is like a daughter of your community, so this is kind of like a special moment for her. I think you all know that Mercy's parents are with us, Maria and Jose Viana, and her wonderful uncle, Orlando, and her sister, Melissa. When we come to Miami, it's all about family. And when we come to Miami, we are reminded about those things that are crucial to America succeeding and surviving. And I would say that you saw the clip of the movie. We are incredibly worried about where America sits. You know, Joe, you and I fought in the trenches almost a generation ago during the 2000 recount. We thought that that was the brink of what the left would do. We didn't know they were just getting warmed up, trying to destroy our schools, trying to teach our kids to hate their own country. Think about that. The only country on the face of the earth that uses our taxpayer money to teach our kids and our grandkids to hate our own country. Hate your parents. Hate your grandparents. Insert the teacher and bureaucrats in between that young child and the parents. So, we're incredibly worried about where the country sits, but when we come here, I think we feel a lot better.
Well, I find that when I come to Miami, I feel like it's almost like the center of the fight for freedom. Because if anyone in our whole country understands what it is to lose a nation, to lose their homeland, to know friends and families who suffered under communism, whether it be in Nicaragua, whether it be in Venezuela, now Colombia. This is heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. It is happening all around Latin America, and it's so close to home. And where do they come? They come to Miami to be safe, to have a place of freedom. And this is the last country standing for freedom. They're all looking at us and saying, can we stay free? Can we be that beacon of hope for everybody else? The problem is, as we were doing a lot of work on this documentary, which you can watch at conservative.org, and I'll make sure that Maricel sends it to you guys so you can, it's a 40-minute documentary. It's eye-opening because the socialists are here. The communists are here, and their goal is not to keep America as America. It is to transform this country. It is to make our young children think that America is a hateful place, and it is to create chaos and confusion. And it is our goal as parents, grandparents, aunts, and uncles to tell our children, to educate our children as to why so many of our family members had to flee communism to come to a free country. And as my father has always told me and my mother, this democracy, this republic is very fragile. Our freedoms are very fragile. Who would have thought in about 2 decades we would have lost Venezuela? Who would have thought? Now it's happening in Colombia. And it is what's the domino effect of these countries. And we have to make sure that it is stopped right here, right now in America. Because let me tell you something. When I worked for President Trump, who, by the way, is the best president in the whole entire world. Can I just say something about President Trump just for a moment here? Because I know that, he gets beat up left and right. But that man taught us one thing. You fight. You never back down. You never give up. You stand for what is true and what the American values are. And one thing about President Trump is that he loves America. And I remember when he was deciding, when he was working with the Mexican government, with Obrador, and he basically said, look, we need 2,000 security officers at the border. And President Obrador said, can't do it, can't do it, can't do it. And President Trump said, we're putting tariffs on Mexico. And everybody in the State Department and National Security are saying, Mr. President, you can't do that. You can't do it. He goes, we are putting tariffs on Mexico until they give us the 2,500 security officers at the border. Guess what happened? Moments later, the Mexican officials were in the Roosevelt Room in the White House ready to negotiate. And guess what we got? 2,500 security officers in the border. And what do we have right now? Kamala Harris as a border czar? Where has she been? I think they keep her in the basement. And you have Biden, who has no control of the border, where the drug cartels and the human traffickers are taking advantage of these vulnerable families and these children. This is a disgrace, a disgrace. And one of my other favorite stories about President Trump is he was negotiating with the Taliban. As we know, Biden completely messed up the Afghanistan withdrawal. And so he was negotiating with the Taliban and the Afghan government, trying to build a coalition. And the Taliban leader, all of a sudden the president shows a picture of the Taliban leader's house. And the Taliban leader said, he would call him Your Highness. Yes, Your Highness, why are you showing me a picture of your house? And the president said, you better negotiate or that house is not going to exist anymore. And that was President Trump. Under President Trump, we did not have war happening in Ukraine and Russia. Under President Trump, there was not this chaos that we were seeing in Afghanistan or the border or Latin America. Those leaders were scared of Trump. They knew that he was going to be a strong leader, and we need strong leadership once again. But it's not just the presidency. It starts at every single level, local, state, federal. We just had a huge success with actually Latinas, Hispanic women taking charge and winning these congressional races. Maite Flores in Texas. We have some of these primary winners in Virginia that are Hispanic women, Republican women, standing up because you know what? The Democrats, they think that they own the women. First of all, they don't even know how to define a woman anymore. In fact, all of you, even the men can be women. In fact, the men can be pregnant under the Democrats. This is how crazy they've become, and it is purely demonic. It is purely anti-American, and we as Republicans need to stand by the side of truth, protect our children from the sexualization of our culture, and make sure we take this country back.
By the way, I loved your prayer. Very good prayer. It's amazing how hanging out with socialists helps your prayer life, because I've never prayed so much in my life and prayed for America more. But Mercy's right about the culture, so I have a challenge for you. Why are we letting a minority take over our country? Why are we letting a minority say they won an election? Why are we letting a minority say that they know what's best for our kids? Why are we so quiet? Why are we so sheepish? Why for decades do we sit back and say, so what? They take over the colleges, does it really matter? So what? They run for school boards. Who really cares about the school boards? So what? They win these prosecutor races where they don't really believe in prosecuting crime. What matters? We'll try to get the majority in the Senate. We've ceded too much ground, my friends. Me too. I was too quiet for too long. We were all too quiet for too long. We let them we didn't believe they were as evil, demonic as they are, trying to twist the minds of your children and your grandchildren, to have gender confusion, to hate the country, to believe that capitalism is an evil institution, to believe that socialism will help heal wounds. Socialism makes you poorer and sicker and unhappier and dumber. Who said dumber? I like that one. All these things, it's never worked ever, anywhere, for any people at any time. And so I think we have to take back the culture. And what we're doing at CPAC is obviously working with grassroots Americans, as you can see with the documentary that, thank you for playing. We're at this inflection point. Are we going to sit back and let them slowly take over the country? Or are we going to take it back? You know what happens with propagandists and with communists and socialists? They are purposefully making you feel like your voice doesn't matter. They're making you feel like there's less of you than there are, that you're not powerful, that you're weak, and that when you speak up, you're animated by racism and hatred and animosity. They're doing that on purpose. They want you to shut up. They want you to sit down. They want you to back off. Our challenge to you tonight is to not do that. Do the opposite. stand up, speak up. Do it for your kids. Do it for your grandkids. Be proud of this country. You know, we just got done having CPAC in Brazil, where South Americans, conservatives, really freedom lovers, all throughout South America came to Sao Paulo to celebrate what we believe. And we're going to do the same thing in Mexico in September. And we're going to do the same thing in Israel. We're going to stand up for freedom with people all over the globe. And here's the theme that we have over and over and over again. No matter where we take this message, they say the same thing. People of all stripes walk up to me, and they say, "Are you the CPAC guy?" I say, "I am the CPAC guy." And they say, "Will you go save your country? Because if you don't save America, the rest of us are doomed." You all know that. So why can't we save America? Why can't we do it? Why don't we just do it? Why don't you do what you did in Florida, where Ron DeSantis won by a little bit and changed not only the whole state, that's right, he changed the whole country, and he changed the trajectory of history. And we have to do that in state after state after state. So my challenge to all of you is why don't we feel as cocky and as confident as they do? Why don't we just take it all back?
So I think one of the things that we've learned is that, what the left does really effectively is they try to destroy you. So if you're a conservative, you're a target. No question. If you're a Republican, you're a target. So when I was working for the Trump campaign, I was put on an Antifa execution list where they put it all out there. And it's the same way they're doing in their assassination attempt to Brett Kavanaugh, who's a dear friend of both of ours. They will stop at nothing to scare you, to silence you, to make you feel that you're very little. And then they put me on the don't hire her because she worked for Donald Trump. So you have these big corporations who all of a sudden are so scared of insulting Black Lives Matter, who lobby them over and over and over again to get millions of dollars that we have no idea where the millions of dollars have gone because they haven't helped anybody in the minority community. And what they targeted Matt, they targeted our business, they targeted our family. But you know what? We stand with God. We know that God will protect our family. We pray every day. And the other challenge I have for you, open up that Bible every single day. Go to church. Find your faith. In faith, you find strength and wisdom and courage. Because you know that this is a spiritual battle. It's not just an earthly battle. It is something much bigger than us. And we need the strength to be able to carry on. And I'll share this story with you. Matt, we have 36 countries that have come to us. Think about that. 36 countries that say, CPAC is so strong in America that we want it in our country. Teach us how to win elections. Teach us to build the conservative movement. So when Matt was in CPAC Japan, he gets a call to go to Hong Kong. And he goes and protests with the Hong Kong protesters, which we know that the communists have taken over Hong Kong. They're taking these young kids, throwing them into jail. And we have 5 girls, 5 niñas. And we were all praying the rosary together. And my 8-year-old at the time, Lucia, she is very funny. And every time I would say, everyone say a little intention, every time we would pray a decade of the rosary. And she said, God, I pray that the communists don't throw my dad into jail. So I was like, if the 8-year-old understands the dangers of communism, how can we not teach our children the dangers of communism? But then we have another Lucia story, because Lucia is hysterically funny. She puts "Go Trump" on her vocabulary test. And so I was having back pain like 3 weeks ago. Matt was out of town, so I'm like, Lucia, I need some Advil. So she grabs me Aleve. She looks at the bottle and she goes, Mom, Aleve is made in China. They're trying to poison us. You can't take Aleve. So what I'm saying is, I don't know what Lucia's future is. She might become a comedian. She might become a politician. I have no idea. But this teaches us a lot. We have to know who our enemies are. We have to define our enemies. And it is very clear that China and Russia want to see the demise and the end of the United States of America. And the Russians will do whatever they can to make sure that we are in the most weakened position. And they know that with President Biden in charge, they can take over Ukraine, they can take over Georgia, they can take over Moldavia. They will not stop because they know that they are in a position of strength and we are in a position of weakness. Instead, we have Biden going to Saudi Arabia, going to Venezuela and saying, can I have your oil, please? Because, we can't produce enough in the United States. Because he took an energy-independent, strong country and made it into a weakened, energy-dependent nation. He is so bad that I'm not sure if he knows what he's doing. He literally cannot even, communicate effectively. And they have Jill Biden, who's serving as a staffer, saying, don't talk to the reporters anymore. Don't talk to reporters anymore. And it is just so sad to see where this country is right now. But the red wave is coming in November, and it's coming big.
So I think what we want you all to know is thank you for the invitation to be here. You are the best people. You understand what America is all about. You need to pray for this country, and you need to fight for her honor. She is in a bad position. She is in distress. She has too many of the next generation that believes that she is intrinsically racist, that she was founded on a lie, that she was founded for the wrong principles. And we've taught that. And we've got to stop it. We've got to hit it head on. And I think you can take back your country. I know you can take back your country. We can take back our country. And what I want you to understand is that when we take back this country, look, I'm a proud Republican. We're here at a Republican event. I love the Republican Party. I do. I love it. But sometimes those Washington Republicans, they get a little soft. They don't understand what power is all about. Give Nancy Pelosi a little credit. When she gets power, what does she do with it? She tries to wreak havoc with it. When our side gets power, they say, oh, boy, with this power in 25 years, I might do something with it. And that has to change immediately. So your voice to these Republicans is, we will give you power for a period of time. You must use it immediately. And you must use it to defend this country immediately. And that has to be our charge. And you all have to understand that we don't know how much time America has. You know, when America was founded, 240 years sounded like a long time. 245 years, whatever it is. It's, we don't know how much time is on the clock for us. If this was a basketball game, how much time is on the clock? We don't know. If it's 18 holes, what are we on, the 16th hole? We putting on the 16th green? I mean, how much more time do we have as a country? And I know this, that it's going to slip through our fingers in a nanosecond if we continue on the path we're on. If we continue the same tactics of, you know what, it's not worth fighting for this, it's not worth fighting for that, let them have that, this isn't worth it. We have to stop that immediately. And so my challenge to you is to say this. Don't rely on the big cities, don't rely on the establishment, don't rely on the powerful, don't rely on the wealthy to get the job done. It's up to you. You got to do it. And that's what we hear from these people all over the globe. Please, my God, save your country. And I think you need to understand this, which is a lot on your shoulders, but it's really on your shoulders. States like Florida, states like Texas, the whole country is relying on you to continue to stand up. And I think we're going to get it done. I think we're going to have one of the greatest victories we've ever seen in the history of this country. And I think the reason why we're going to have those victories is not because we had more money. It's not because we did something innovative and tricky. It's because we all finally woke up. We are awake, not woke. We woke up to what they're trying to do. We finally realized that what they intend to do is actually destroy this country. When Barack Obama said he wanted to transform the country, I didn't know what it meant. I know it now. I know what it means. It means pollute the minds of your kids, pollute the minds of your grandkids, run down our institutions, make you feel so demoralized that you don't even feel like you can get up tomorrow and fight for the country. And that all stops now.
So we made it to Miami early this morning, but I was up in New York City yesterday because I had a chance to do Gutfeld last night, who is one of the funniest guys ever. He's great. He's so funny. And one of the segments was on the fact that the Navy did a video on pronouns. Literally, you have a guy wearing this rainbow shirt, and then they have this other lady, and they're talking about how, well, if you misgender someone, just say I'm sorry. Like, they're having a video. I'm like, we need like the military to be ready to fight wars. We're not doing pronouns, people. They're not doing, hey, they, there, you know, the grenade is by your feet. Like, be really careful because you're going to get killed. Like, it doesn't work. And so what they've done is that they've basically infiltrated with all these different radical agendas and not doing what they need to be doing, which is their job to make sure that we're ready to deal with China going after Taiwan and dominating the South China Sea. That we can deal with a very empowered Russia who will stop at no end, that if they attack a NATO country, we will be at war. We talked to a friend of ours who worked with Secretary Mike Pompeo, and he said, my biggest fear is that by next year, my 2 sons will be drafted into war. We are facing a very scary reality in America. And I don't want to be doom and gloom, because I do have great hope, and I do believe that God has blessed this country, as those 3 beautiful singers have said and sang to us, because God does bless America. But we also have to be realistic that we are facing enormous dangers in this country and across the globe. But I do feel that as we go into 2022, where the Republicans, the brave Republicans like Jim Jordan, who is a complete rock star, Elise Stefanik, Steve Scalise, there's so many good Republicans fighting really hard that are not going to give up the fight. And let's just pray they fire Fauci at some point. How about that? We got to fire Nancy, fire Fauci. I mean, he wants to make us wear masks again. I think almost like in the bathrooms. It's like, okay, guy, you be you. You do what you want to do. But seriously, he's created so much stress. And think about the kids. These kids that didn't go to school for a long time, that we've seen suicides go up, that we've seen all this crime happening in our communities. And it's because we got to make sure that our families are strong, that our faith is strong, that our communities are strong, and that there is where we're going to build a stronger America. Don't let your kids, don't let your nieces, nephews fall into the leftist trap. That's what they want. That's why we lost Colombia. It was those university students, many of them, who backed Petro. And now we're losing that country. But again, we cannot give up hope, because it is our time now. It is our time to face this great battle that we've been prepared for. I know my father and my mother and my uncle, they did that in Cuba. They did have to flee their country. They did have to fight the fights and fight communism. And my father was thrown into jail for 6 years because of his battle, where he was put into solitary confinement and tortured. But he is still here with us. Why? Because he never gave up. He never gave up. And it took my uncle to take care of my mom so that she could come to a free country. And as my father says, he goes, I'm not Cuban American. I am a proud American. And that is what we are. Because America stands for freedom. America stands for prosperity and opportunity for all. I can be the girl that went to St. Brendan and FIU and end up working for not one president, but 2 presidents in the White House. And I was so proud to represent my community in the White House during my time and be able to advise these presidents to do the right thing in all the right issues. But let me tell you, when the Supreme Court overturns Roe v. Wade, be ready for riots, be ready for violence, because those guys are not going to stop. But again, we are ready. We are prepared and ready to take on these battles and know that at the end of the day, this country will prosper and we will make sure that the next generation is able to live in this great country of freedom.